Okay, we will see how we can create work with database query results. How we can create XML profiles and how we can create the JSON profile. How we can do the splitting and combining all the different options we'll see today. Okay, now let's create another process where even you can directly use this query customers.
Vema, what is it again? Voice not clear.
Okay, so we'll see today how we can work with the database query results. From the database query results, we'll see how to create a flat files, how to create XML profiles, and how we can create the JSON files, and then how we can work with the database, the data process split and combine. We'll see all these scenarios now.
Okay, so yesterday we basically discussed about flowing up from database to a flat file, and today you're kind of continuing it from a database into a flat file again, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, flat file or XML file or JSON file, whatever.
Okay.
So whenever you want to have a sequential flow, sequential number of tasks, let's say in my case, what I wanted to do, once the database is results are coming up, and then I wanted to generate CSV files as well as the XML files as well as the JSON files. I want to create three types of the files. First,
Mm-hmm.
let's create a branch. What is the branch is do? It will just allow the sequential steps. We'll do the sequential steps. What is the advantage of this one, right? So if let's connecting here, it's connecting here. Now what you want to do? So now I want to generate a flat file. So I have already converted this to flat file here. If you see, convert to flat file. So I can directly put the set property and disconnector so that my file will be generated. But after that, after the any outbound connector, the execution will not flow. After the outbound connector, execution will not continue further. So but after the basically the what why the reason they given is outbound connector would be the end of the action in your flow. But after the outbound connector, we may need to do some other task. Let's say once we send the data to the target system, we may need to do archiving or some other processing steps. But in that case, how we can do the sequential steps after that is we can use the branch, because without using the branch then we cannot able to do multiple actions, because after outbound connector whatever you place, even the stop also will not execute. Let's say if you're seeing here, right, your execution will be coming up here, it will be reaching here and then will be stopping here. It will not continue further. Means any outbound connector execution will be stopped with the outbound connector itself. It will not be continued further. So for that purpose, so we have given us the, if you want to do any other further processing, we have given us the branch. The branch is basically do the sequential steps. What is the another thing is doing it in terms of the data, whatever the data that is passing through the branch, whatever the data that is passing through the branch, it will be replicate the same data across each and every branches. In every branches it will be replicating the same data. So let's see here how many branches we can create. Maximum 25 branches we can create. Now what I wanted to do, first thing I wanted to convert the flat file to a database to flat file. And next thing is what I wanted to do, I want to convert the flat file to database profile to XML. So let me create one more map here. And after that, I wanted to create one more profile. I wanted to create one more map for the JSON. I want to create given JSON also. So let's add another task here. Change to 3. So let's first configure it here. Since we are getting a database So getting the profile in database format, then what we can do, we'll just upload the database profile. And since we wanted to convert this to an XML profile now, we can just select this customers one.
Already you have XML profile there, right?
Then we have already created area, right?
Uh, the profile in the database connector and the profile that you use in the map should be the same, right? Without any
Yes,
alterations.
yes, should be, because if you are getting different data, right? Whatever the data that is coming out of this database connector, and you might have specified a different kind of different type of the profile. Let's say you might have specified the source as the XML profile. Then it is trying to match this one. Whatever the data is passing through the map, it will try to match. It will try to match with this profile. If both are not matching, then it will throw an error saying that please check your source profile and the data. So it has to be matched.
So the
Otherwise,
parameters need not be there, right? See, when we create this connectors, you have connectors and operators, and in operations you have this parameters also defined sometimes, right? So you don't have to mention those here.
no, no, those are we are just one. So in the parameters tab, what we are doing, we are just passing the value at runtime.
Correct.
But
So, but you also have a parameter
these
here,
are
right?
not the outcome. These are the income to the connectors.
No, okay.
We
Yeah.
are working only with the outcomes.
Here
Because
also you have parameters, right? So here also does a, so you have any, see when you kind of click on the map here, on this, on the map.
yeah, obviously we have it because we are using the same profile, right?
Correct. Okay. So,
We are
okay,
using the
fair
same
enough.
profile. We'll be having it. And next thing would be, I wanted to convert the database profile format to JSON profile format.
JSON, how do you have it generally now? Because we didn't work on that, right?
Yes, we'll show you how we
Yes.
can, how it looks like. Let's open Google. How, what is that? See, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. This is basically used when you're working with REST-based systems, REST-based application. Let's say when you're working with browser things, web applications. When you're working with
Okay.
web applications, what happens, right? When you're working with the client and server architecture. Let's say, just say the simple example. You are using some Flipkart site. Okay, that's a web-based application, and that
Correct.
you are when you are trying to get a login, or when you're trying to order any item, then it will be connecting from the web application to any other backend systems or any other systems to fulfill your order and to processing further. It means that it will be interacting with the client and server architecture. But the thing is, if you are working with from browser, right? Or if you are using that type, whenever we are using client and server architecture, we can say that's a web services, or we can say it's a HTTP mode. Transport will be mostly HTTP will be there. Hypertext transport protocol. This protocol will be using it. So when you are using HTTP protocol in the client and server architecture, the common practice would be using the XML as the data structure. Data structure would be XML. But the thing is, sometimes what happens in XML, right? So whenever you are working with this browser kind of a thing, well, let's say when you got the response from the backend system, and browser has to replicate the response in terms of a browser, in terms of an UI. So
Mm-hmm.
in that case, it has to parse the response, and then it has to display the response in proper way. But when it comes to parsing, right? When it comes to parsing, XML parsing is a huge task. It's a take a huge memory, or in terms of it's a expensive operation parsing it, because it has to, there is a DOM and there are separate parsers are there, DOM parser and SAX parser, because these are like heavyweight. But no, so it has to work with browser based, and it has to be more simple, right? They have created one more profile type called JSON. These are JavaScript object notations.
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript object notation. It's lightweight data integration interchange format. It's easy for human to read it. So whenever you're working with a browser-based type of thing, we can say browser-based applications called REST applications. REST applications. When REST applications always use a profile format as a JSON. So how it look like JSON? Okay, let's see the sample JSON file. Let's see how it looks like. This is how it looks like. How it looks like. It always starts with open brace and closed curly braces, and then we can call it as this is what each. We can call this as an object here. Call it as an object. What is the object? Has a glossary. Glossary has this information. You can just paste this to Notepad++ and it will be showing you the where it is starting, where it is ending. You can see that this is a glossary and this is an object. What actually will be name will be always it will be having a name value pair here. Name will be
Mm-hmm.
name will be whether it's there in double quotes or not, but value should be there in double quotes always. And if it is a string, if it is a number type, we can always you can keep in directly without double quotes. So always you can say this is you can see this is an object, or even you can say this is an object. Object what has an object contains a name value pair. It can be any number of name value pair. Object contains any number of name. We can say fields or elements. Okay, we can nested the objects. We can contain. See if you see this one object is contains another object. This is an actual an object. This object is started here and it ended here. In between that, we have another object here.
Correct. Brackets open. Yeah.
Nested. We can create a nested, and there is another term called array. Array is nothing but it's a repeating element. Always array mentioned with this. This is not an array. This will be how it looks like. We will specify the square brackets. Arrays are represented square brackets instead of this curly braces. Inside an array, again you can have the objects. So this is how it looks like basically. If you just you can see a similar representation how the XML will be looking like. Same whatever the JSON we have seen here, whatever the JSON we have, same JSON data will be represented in XML. This is how it looks like the glossary, and then this is how it looks like XML, and the same data is represented in JSON how it looks like. But this is very easy to parse from the browser point of view applications. For web applications, it's very simple to parse it
Okay.
compared to an XML because of this because XML it needs to DOM and SAX parser because these are a bit heavy weight. That's the reason most of the thing when you are interacting with the JSON applications, what they will do, they'll web REST application they'll use the instead of XML, JSON is the data type format. Let's see how we can create a JSON profile here.
Yeah. Hey, Vema, one quick question out of the subject. This you there, Vema?
Yes.
See, what is the basic difference between an SOAP and an REST? Both of them from a WSDL point of view,
See, SOAP is a protocol open standard. SOAP versus REST.
So can you
So
give me an example from Salesforce if possible?
Salesforce is on how the Salesforce everything will interact in terms of SOAP only. You can see all the things will be interactive in SOAP only. All your request response from Boomi. See, web services are you can see that there are two types of web service. One is SOP, nothing but simple object access protocol. Other one will be representative state transfer. So there SOAP has some additional structures will be there. SOAP has some additional structures will be there, and SOAP will be used the default protocol as a HTTP transfer protocol. And apart from that, not only FTP, it can use all the transfer protocol. Let's say FTP, SMTP, SMTP, all this we can use it. Let's say one will just go with one of these things. And main will the difference is SOAP is bit heavy, but SOAP is has a more security wise. In REST base also we can apply security, but see what we can do, the SOAP and REST base will be using the HTTP as a protocol. But when you are moving it, we can do the security at transport level. That's the reason you will see some of the sites always with HTTPS. So BS nothing but it's secure. When you click on the certificate, it will be showing the certificate information. Means when you
Okay.
are transferring the message from client to server, you are just encrypting the channel. You are encrypting the channel. But in the SOAP, what you can do additional, you can encrypt the message also.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the encrypting the channel, even you can encrypt the message also. Like you can do like more SOAP is more secure than REST service. Another thing will be
Okay.
the REST will be like whenever you want to interact with the browser-based applications, frequently they'll use the REST. This REST is lightweight and SOAP is a bit heavy. And when you are interacting with SOAP application, they'll use the standard data structure as an XML. When you are interacting with when you are interacting with
Great.
the REST base, we'll be using the JSON as the. It's not like always JSON, but it will be common practice.
Okay.
So they have given so many things, but you can quickly see the
So
language
I think we'll be
SOAP
dealing
versus
with.
REST. Yeah, you can see this one. SOAP or as SOAP is definitely heavyweight choice for web service access. It provides the following advantage when compared to REST. Language, platform and transport independent. REST requires use of HTTP. REST requires use of HTTP, but it's not required for SOAP. As I told you, even along with HTTP, even you can use JMS also, transport, SMTP, FTP. You can use all these and it's a standard one. SOAP is a standard protocol. That's a standardized mechanism. Like the way how we have XML is universal, right? SOAP also is independent of the platform. We can develop a web service in like or any technology, any platform. You can able to consume in any platform. It's basically neutrality. SOAP is built on a framework called WS standards, web service standards. And it also has some error handling automatically. If any error there, it will be automatically, so fault will be returned it. So REST is basically no expensive tool required to interact with web service, smaller learning curve, efficient. SOAP uses XML for all messages. REST can use a smaller message formats. It's compared to the fast. Even REST will be, because it's lightweight, will be faster. That's the only difference, not much difference functionality wise and some terms of like security wise. Now let's see how we can create the JSON profile. Since we don't have anything, let's create a new profile for JSON. Even we have a sample, we can create a JSON also. Have a sample, even you can create a JSON. Now what I wanted to do is, because I wanted to store my all customer information. All the customer information is each and every customer will be customer record will be one entry, one record. It means each and every time the customer record will be repeating. I can have any
Okay.
number of customers. It means that the customer is a repeating. I should have defined as an array. And what and all the structure of what and all the structure will be repeating? My all customer information will be repeating. Each and every customer, what and all it has a multiple fields. Customer ID, customer name, all the things. This is what we can call it as an object. Object is like considered as a combination of, it's like always we can say JSON always represent name and value pairs. Name and value. It's a combination of name and value pairs. Then we can call it as an object. always object starts this one kernel braces and it's kernel braces. Object can have only two also. Object can have only single element or multiple elements also. But each and every time name will be always will be key value pair. Name value pair will be there. Now let's define this one. So now let's define this as a I wanted to add. See, if you just define a simple, right? So just define a simple. It means it might be the one of the field, but if you say simple, you don't have any other option to add it. But let's say first I wanted to array is repeating. First I want to define an object. Object. What is the object? I want to define an object called customers. Okay, customers. Inside these customers, I'll be having a repeating element. Okay, now let's go here. Let's go here. Add an object entry. This is actually an array. This is actually an array. Can we not add array? Okay, we have this is how we have. First we have to create an object called customers, and then another way we have to let's create this. Okay, here sometimes it has a column. And now let's add the object entry, and this is actually a repeating element for us. What is that repeating element here? I want the repeating element should be array is this one, and then add identifier instance on this one second. Okay, here I need to specify this is an of type object now. This object would be, what is object's type here? I have to add multiple entries here. First one would be, first I am defining an object called customer. Okay, I am defining an object called customer. This customer has a repeating element. Customers has a repeating element of the element called customer. This customer can be repeating element. And then object here. Object should be customer here. Let's create, then this is called cust ID. I'm also not much idea on this one.
You didn't work on this?
Yeah, I didn't work on it. I was given cust ID, cust name, and then number of order, and then order date. Okay. Now let's click on save and close. My entry one is showing. No need entry one. Let's see. Let's try to map it here. So now let's see whether how the data will be coming. It's coming properly or not. And then we can just add the connectors. Once save. And once we run the JSON data, right? Because based on that, if you are not coming as expected, then we can modify that. Modify the structure. Let's see. Okay. Let me see what data it is coming here. This should be a flat file. And I think we are using some kind of filtering here. We just try to remove the filter. And say only one customer information is coming. You can see here the root element would be customers and then child element would be customer. This customer can be a repeating element. Now we just see this one, how the JSON is done by the. Okay, we just have to rename this is customers. Customer we need to put it this one is. We have to make this entry it should be customer. You can see since it's a repeating element, just generated the square brackets. We just rename this to. So we have just renamed the entry to customer. And then all these objects will be generated here. Now let's rerun this process, how it will be generated. After that, we'll just remove the filtering criteria. So let's remove this filtering criteria. But make sure when you are removing a filter criteria, make sure when you are removing a criteria, even you have to update your profile accordingly. Statement also, you have to edit the statement accordingly. Otherwise, you will get an error message.
Okay.
I think it's fine even if you define a parameter also. Let's see if you are. Let's see if whether we are able to run it or not. If else, even you can delete the parameter also. Yeah, it's not actually allowing. Let's delete this parameter also.
Yeah, definitely read the parameter, right? So you have to remove.
Yeah, we'll just remove this one, delete parameter, and then we'll just go save it. While it is still running. Now we'll remove it. Save as save. It is showing still. No parameter, why it is showing this one. Okay. Sometimes it's refresh here. And now let's rerun this process.
without connector, we can just put the database to the start and go ahead.
Sorry?
Without any connector, we can just put it to start and take it up.
Without connector. Yeah, without connector means then where you will get the data. We can use the start with no data. There can't be the start shape with no data, but where you will get the data. Then after that, you are want to put, you can put the again the connector, get action, and then you can do the same thing. So you're doing a one task, right? So you'll be putting start with no data, and then you can use a connector again.
Hmm.
Now let's see how the data was generated here. You can just see that multiple customer information was generated here. This is how the JSON data looks like. So now we are good to generate all these files. Now what we can do, we generate all the connectors, all the files. We'll just use the set property here. And just use document property disk file name customer.csv. Then directory information will be just put c temp db underscore out. We'll just copy paste the same thing over here also. When you highlight this shape, you will get the copy. In your page, you want to paste it, click on left click wherever you want to paste. Click on left click and then say you get an option paste, then select the button, select the paste. This is how we need to copy paste. Left click again, select the paste. Now even we can put multiple connectors or even we can put a single connector. You can put a multiple connector or single connector. That's depends on us. Because if you are putting a multiple connector, your configuration time would be more.
Hmm.
But only thing is when I can connect multiple connectors, it's take very less time for me. But what file name it actually take is that is depends on whatever the flow it is coming. Based on that flow, the file names will be automatically take. Instead of you doing these things, even you can put in the same branch one connector, one connector, one connector. There will be no difference. Save it. When you are running it, make sure your this connector you are able to create it. Overwrite the file exist. You can't save. You can see how many files. Oh, I think we did not change the file property names. What we can do, because same file will be generating all the times. Because we did not change the file names. So since we already given option of override here, what happened at the end of the day, only one file will be getting generated. This would be an XML file. This would be a JSON file. C temp db output. That's what the folder we created. Temp db out. We have created these are the different files. Let's review this functionality. This is how it's generated. You can see this is how the JSON file was generated. How an XML file was generated. Customer is this is how its files will be generated here.
But why did it not flow to the till end, the stop?
That's what I told you, right? It will not go end. Outbound connector will be the end action. You cannot place anything on outbound. If you want to do anything after that, you have to use the branch. That's the only option. Because ideally the outbound connector will be the last action in your flow.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they have not given. But to give it the flexibility, they given this branch. So this is how the JSON data looks like. Very cust. Each and every element has a name and value pair here. Okay. So we are good. Now we are able to generate. We are able to generate CSV files and XML files and JSON files, because the common requirement would be what we coming will be having either Salesforce or success factors from will be extracting the data, and then we need to send when we need to send the data to the uh, external systems, and we need to generate a CSV file, and then we need to drop the file into specific SFTP server. Then apart from this, how to retrieve the data from Salesforce, rest of the things we already know. How to generate a flat file and how to send the data to SFTP server. We already seen how SFTP server send action, generating of the flat files.
Yes.
So this would be the requirements. Now we'll just see how we can work with data process split and combine.
Okay. Hey, Meva, can you just click on this database, the first one, the start one, initial, just a quick question.
Yeah,
No, if you can go back once, and I just want to kind of check one thing on that.
where you want to check notepad or
No, no,
movie process.
on the canvas.
Okay.
If you can go back to the process, not on this executed one, not on the log. If you can go back, yeah.
Okay.
So can you just click on this customer get database operation? Here, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, profile.
Okay.
Where did we give the connector name and everything? I'm just a bit confused. Can you just go back?
What connector name?
Yeah, I mean the connections and everything should be there, right? The operations and connections. Yeah.
This is the operation. Inside the operation, we are using a profile. You can see the database operation.
Oh,
This is an operation. Inside this operation, we are specifying the profiles. Inside the profile, actually your statement would be there.
Okay, fair enough. Just a bit of
So here
confusion.
you can write a complex query that includes joins. Basically, joins are used to get the data from multiple system, multiple database tables. You can write all your query, and it will be supported. Just it will help you to generate some of the default query using import wizard. After that, whatever the way you want, you can just modify your custom query, your default query. You can customize your query, and depends on that, you can just add your fields also on the left side.
Okay. So typically in most of the projects that we do, we use start and then we use a connector, right? But here, we are directly using a start. So I kind of,
Yeah, there is a one scenario, right? When you are scheduling, let's say you have scheduled a wide difference, right? Let's say you have scheduled a process to run every 10 minutes, or every 1 hour, or every one day, every day once.
mhm,
And if you directly configure your connector in the start shape, if you directly configure the connector in the start shape, the way how we done now,
mhm,
if any error occur, let's say you maybe as the process, right, instead of you connecting to a database, or maybe you're connecting to a database, or you may be pulling the file from SFTP.
mhm.
There might be some issues, let's say the connectivity issues. When we have a connectivity issues, what happens? The process will be failure here.
Mhm.
And that failure information we can see only in the process reporting. On the manage tab, we can see that information. But checking each and everything and process reporting and manage tab is a bit difficult for us. So what is a common practice? What we'll do, because each and every time we'll be having multiple process, each process will be triggering different timings. Some of the process will be triggering on web services, some of them will be scheduled. Like this, we have many process, and it's not difficult. It's not easy to check each and every process whether it's failure or success at this time. If it is like a triggering daily once, yes, we can check it daily once. So in that case, what happens if any connectivity fail, we don't have an option of sending an email alert. Don't have an option of sending an email alert. So in addition to the what we can do, right? If you just put the start share with no connector, no data,
Mm.
and then if you put the connector, and in this case, what you will do in between the start and the connector, you will be using the try catch sharp.
Okay.
So if any error occurred in the connector, the try catch would be catching that exception, and in the exception branch, you will be specifying an email alert. So if any error occurred, you'll just send an email alert automatically processed, and then you by looking at email you'll get notified that okay this process got failure at this particular time. Okay, then you'll be taking further actions on how to reprocessing our data or the system, and like it's only temporary or network issue or it's a permanent issue. So based on that, we can take developer can take an action. That's this the only difference. If your common practice would be using start shape and then connector, not within this one. But there are certain
Okay.
shapes we cannot use outside the start shape. Let's say the listen actions,
Mhm.
web services and JMS one listen. We cannot use a JMS. Only listen option will be enabled in the start shape.
Okay, got it.
That's the main difference.
So try catch, will we be working on those? Can you show us few examples or something? Can you show me few
So
examples of it?
nothing will be there. Will show you in one of the example when you're working on your license account. Not because these things are not enabled in trial account, and
Mm.
that everything
Okay.
will be combined in one or two sessions. Whatever is not actually covered, and because yesterday I told you to verify on flow control, because flow
Oh,
control is not
okay, got it.
enabled. Because of that, we could not able to insert multiple data into database. So what we can do, because one is the flow control is not covered, I have just given you what is the purpose of flow control. So now you can just put the flow control, see
Sure.
the behavior. Next time when we see, we will just see the flow control again. When we have example, even you have good documentation also, and Bhumi, we'll just can understand by looking at those examples. even you can practice whatever the scenario yesterday I told you. You can just put the flow control and then observe the behavior without flow control, with flow control. Okay, now we'll just I want to show you. What I wanted to do, I just wanted to show you how we can do the splitting and combining here. Let's go here. Let's take the fourth branch. Copy. So at this time I'll be getting a flat file data. If I want to go for splitting, right, I can go for the data process split.
What does that mean, data process?
We are just using data process. Data process will do many functionalities. You can just see what all functionality it can do. Conversion, search replace, custom scripting you can do, and then combining documents, zipping, unzipping, encryption, decryption. You can do many things, but we'll see how we can split the documents. Now we'll split the documents here, and then we'll just see what happens when each and every time when you put, right. Let's put the message, or I'll just put the start shape here. We'll see the different options. Okay, we'll see the different options when to use and when we can. Okay, we'll see these different options. As of now, we just select split by line and no column headers. Let's run this process. But one thing is, when you have a multiple branches, the way how we have defined now 4 branches, ideal the default behavior of the branch is, if any error occurred in the first branch, if any error occurred in the first branch, and if you have not handled that error, then second branch will not be executed. The process will be stopped. It anything anywhere if your process getting any failure, if you don't handle that error, your process will be stopped in middle. If you handle that error, your process will be smoothly finishing the execution. If you see this one, we are getting how many records we are getting as a source document here. 5 documents are getting it, and then we can see how many documents was generated here. 5 documents. Data process, using data process split, what we can do, we can split one document that contain multiple records into one document that contain multiple records into multiple documents. We can split as a name split. One document can be split into multiple documents. Each document have only one record for that purpose. But what we mentioned here is no column headers. Means each and every record what it is taking, you can see the first document did not have actual data. If you see this one, first document did not have actual data here. Even consider the column name also as the data. Second document has the data. So like this, it means when you see the no headers means it will not identifying the headers. You are saying your file did not have headers, then even if any headers also available in your file, that will not consider as a headers, that will consider as one of the data element, the way how it was coming here.
Okay.
Okay, if you just say that remove header, there is other options here. Remove first line as a column headers. then what happens? The first line that you have given as a column header, that header will be removed, and then it will generate only the 5 documents. Earlier what happens? The first document itself is a just generated with the column headers. Now there will be no column headers will be generated. First document itself is a row, because the first row itself is ignored as a column headers. But if you are trying to store anything here, right? If you are trying to store a set property using profile element, if you are just using this kind of a thing, right, you will not store the value. Let's see the something. Okay, let's say I wanted to create I want to store the customer ID property here. I want to store the customer ID property here. So because I am going to create a new property, let's say it will be user defined property. I cannot use a standard defined. Okay, I am just here's a cust ID. This is the property name. I am going to define it. So I will be selecting profile element, and I will be trying to get the data from Flatfile. This is the one I am just selecting it. And what is the element value I want to store from that profile? First ID. You can save. You can just see in this case whether the value been stored it or not. You can see parameter value will be null. Why we are getting null value? Why we are getting null value? Ideally, but we are getting actual data right here. Let's see, we are getting actual data here. Then why we cannot able to store the cust ID is, as part of my Flatfile profile configuration, I have mentioned that my data would also have the column headers. Since this one did not have an column headers and value, the first document, whatever the entry was coming, it considered as a column headers. Since there is no data head, there is no data row here, then it is saying null value. If you just change this behavior, retain first line as a column header, then what happens this time? Data process will be generating each document that contains a column header as a first line and the data row as a second line. So that when it reaches this document to the set property, what is doing? Set property is trying to store the value from the profile element. This time it has the column rows as column data as well as the actual data, the row record, both the things are available. So this time it actually stores the value. You can see this. So this is the different ways how it will change depends upon each configuration. Now we know how to split. Yesterday we already seen how to batching also. Batching in the sense, as of now, default behavior would be each document should be generated only one row. Even if you put one also, same behavior. If you put three, right, if you put two, it means what I am mentioning, batch every two records into a separate document. Every two records into a separate document. Now since we have five documents, there will be three documents will be generated. The first document has a two elements, second document has a two elements, but third document did not have the sufficient number of, so it will be stored only the one record. You can just see this one here, two. This is also two, because we have total number of records would be five. When you are splitting it based on batching or batching number two, it will generate two two. and then last one would be only one. So this is the how we can set the batching with in the while splitting, how we can do the batch count, and then we'll just do combine after this. Why we'll do the splitting and combining here? Whenever you wanted to do validate record level validation, then you cannot do without splitting. We have to do split. Let's say let's say I'm storing this is a this particular shape can be a validation. Just assume that. So I'm doing splitting and then doing all my validations, and then I'm just recombining all these combined documents. But when you're combining documents, flat file and all, it will be okay. But when you flat file, what is the option it is taking? No column headers. Retain first line as a column headers. And when you're going for other options, XML, you cannot use XML or JSON. How to take? Let me show you that one first. Okay, first let me execute this one. See, because since we have a split here, we have multiple documents here, two documents. And again, since we are combining here, after this one combine, we should be having only one document. Because splitting means combining in the sense is a reverse operation. Combining multiple documents into a single document. Splitting is splitting the one document into multiple documents. That's how we can do the splitting and combining here. Yeah, basically whenever you have getting a one record, I have used the batch count for just splitting the files. Like there is a one of my interface that actually access 500 supplier information, 500 supplier information in XML file. If you are getting more than 500 supplier information, I cannot able to consume that file. So, but what the file I'll get from customer is, I'll get the file from customer around 16,000, 17,000. That much of records I'll be getting from the customer. So what I'll be creating, my process will be, my actual process will be only expect expect 500 records to be available in file. So what I can do, they will be creating another process. I'll be creating another process. That process will be scheduled just maybe 2 minutes or 5 minutes before than the actual my process will be process review time. So let's say my actual process that handles the supplier information will be triggering at 12:10. So what I can do, I just create another process. Why I am creating this process is just taking the whole file that contains 16,000 records into generate multiple files, each file that contain only 500 files, only 500 records. So I'll schedule this process to 12. So my process will be completed within 1 minute. So till the time my actual process will be triggering at 12:05, I'll be already having the multiple files. Then each file will be running separately. So this is a for this purpose I have used the batch count. I use split document with batch count of 500. Then I have just handled the file naming, proper file naming convention, and then set the file and just write the files. So this way we can do this. It might be the different use cases we can use it, but I have used in this case. Okay, now we'll just see the another option called how we can do the search and replaces in the data process. Search and replaces in the data process. I'll just be showing another thing here. Now I want to show you from XML point of view. Copy. Let's add another branch here. What I am doing here is I'll just replace customer from DB to XML. So I'm just duplicating this map, and I'll be selecting the duplicate map here, because what I am doing, since I have specified here as customer is an unbounded, means all the records will be accumulating in the same file. All the records are accumulating in the same file. Instead of I doing this one, what I can do, I'll just create I'll just remove this one. I'll just remove this root element customer. Let's see what happens when I remove this one. Let me create one other file. Let me duplicate this profile also. If you want to see where under which folder this profile was there, click on folder and it will be showing you. You can see under it's there under root folder. Go for XML profile, duplicate this one, copy, let's copy it to this folder. Now go here. Okay, I am just modifying this one. What I am doing here is I don't want this. I want only this part. So I cannot directly delete this one. See, I cannot directly delete this one. So what I am doing here is I'll just copy this element. Then I cannot copy also this one. Okay, I can copy it, but what I am doing here, I wanted to rename this as customer. Actual this one. I wanted to only preserve this much customer root element. Since am not able to delete this one, what I am doing, I'm just renaming this and I'm moving all these elements to here. Let's see. You can just select and drag it. You can see whenever you are getting a yellow symbol, you leave it there. But when you are getting green color plus, means it will create a child element. So now let me delete this one. You can see that. Let's see what happens now. Just a second, I'm just getting it. Okay, so we'll just run this process now. Let's see how many documents will be generated. We don't need to use XML. We don't need to use the split for XML profile, but the map also can generate multiple documents. Let's see how this will be. Okay, as of now you can see there is only one document is coming. You can see the document count is only one. But when you come here, you can see multiple documents are getting generated. Let's see what each document has it. Each document has only one customer information, because there might be sometimes what happens, you will be getting a one of the profile, you'll be getting one of profiles, let's say web services, all these things. That time you cannot, they will be giving us your schemas and we have to use the same schemas, and we cannot able to modify that. In that cases you might be getting multiple documents, so you wanted to consolidate and then you wanted to send a document. Finally, the way how it looks like here, you have to create a document in this format. You have to club all the document, all the customer information from each document, and then finally you need to generate this document. So let's see how we can generate it, how we can do that. Let's see, we already have an option of combine. Let's see whether we can use the combine option or not here. Okay, let's see how we can combine it. But when we combine an XML profile here, right? But if this is mandatory option, we have to select it based on profile. Let's see, we'll just select the profile called, what is combine element, combine documents into combine. Let's see whether we are able to select this or not. Let's go here, select the customer and combine this into combine element would be this one, customer. Oh, we cannot able to select the root element. So but when you are going this one, right, so when you give anything, what happens, each and every element will be, let's see how this one. This time XML documents will be combined, but not all the elements from the under the customer. Since we selected only one element, we have to, we'll be getting only one record. Each and every time we'll be getting only one record that contains only customer ID. For every customer, they'll be having only one field called customer ID. Let's see this one. You can see this is how it like generate the document. But I don't want only customer ID. I want to all the elements. So for that, what we will do, let's go back here and then just combine the documents none. Combine the documents none in the sense, whatever it is coming, you just keep on appending it, and then after let's see what is the output coming, and then we can modify the data accordingly. When we combine, what happens, each and every time when you run each document has an XML profile, but when you're combining all the things, right, you'll be getting multiple times, this processing instruction also will be getting multiple times. Let's see the execution. You can just see how it got the data. You can just copy this to notepad and let's observe this one, how it's generated. Go for language, enable XML. You can see I am getting multiple customer. What it is, just when you select none, right, whatever the document coming, document data, just simply it is appending it. But this is not a valid XML. not a valid, it's not a well-formed XML at all, first of all. Not a well-formed XML. Well-formed XML should have only one root element, whereas it has a multiple root element in my document. So I have to convert these two into a well-formed XML. What is the first step this should be? We have to make sure this has to be only one available. So we have to remove all other things. So let's see whether we are able to delete it or not. Click on this one. Then we can add n number of steps here. Each step what it is doing, the first step will be generating an output, and that output will be considering as an input for the second step. So we have an option of here search and replace. What we want to search, this is what we want to search, and what we want to replace, I want to replace with null. Entire document once. If you have a large document, it's not recommended. What we can do, you can just implement line by line. Let's see whether we are able to replace it or not. With this XML combining, we'll see the different way, that different shapes we can use it, different options we can use it. But you may get one doubt, like we already have the already generated here, right? But why we are doing all these things? See, sometimes you can create a profile, your own profile, but when you are dealing with some of the client profiles, are then we may not be able to get the right XML. Let's say when you are extracting the data from Salesforce or SuccessFactors, each and every record will be getting a separate XML document from the Salesforce SuccessFactor connector. Then if you want to send each one XML document that contains all the record, then probably you may need to follow the same procedure.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see this one. Now you can just see, but it is nothing is replaced. Nothing is replaced. Why is nothing is replaced is basically the search and replace will accept in terms of like a regex pattern. Reject, it will be whatever you mentioned in the search, that will be replaced in terms of in Java it will be replaced. The problem is in Java, these all are escaping characters. This one less than question mark and question mark greater than, these all we can call it as a escaping characters, XML escaping characters. So wherever you are there, you have to escape these characters. So for that purpose, what I am doing, I am just replacing in parts. Copy. I'm just, instead of replacing the whole thing, I'm just first replacing this one. Next, on the output of this document, I'm just adding another document here. I wanted to replace only this part now. And then I wanted to add this part. Even if you can add some regex pattern also, if you are giving some pattern, it automatically identifies this entire line where it starts with this one crossing instruction. So, but since this is an escaping character, right, we have to give backslash as a escaping character for each character. And now you can see this time it would be replaced the entire document. Now with this one, what you will understand, okay, you can use search replace in this way also for replacing some of the content. And you will see the different usage of the message also now. Now let's go back here and see the what data it is generated now. Okay, that one is replaced, but this is not replaced it. Let's see why it is not replaced it. What's the rejection pattern we applied here? Increment line by line once. Okay. Okay, actually we did not given here. Okay, see one escaping. The first backslash will escape the less than, and this this backslash will escape the question mark, and then this slash will be escape the question mark again, and this will escape the greater than again. Now let's run this one this time. But if any spaces and all in XML document, that will not a matter. If spaces between elements, if spaces available in between the XML element data, then it's a matter. Now let's go back here. You can see now all the things got removed it here. Now you can see multiple customers are there. But now what I wanted to do, if I want to generate a valid XML document, I have to append this one. Wherever this is there, I just wanted to append this one. In between this, I wanted to generate all your data. Whatever the data was generating, I wanted to generate all your data. This is what we can do with the current data. But when you are hard coding in message shape, right? When you're hard coding message shape, the single characters will be take some special characters. We have to give always double characters. Otherwise, you throw an error. So what I am doing here, now I am getting data generating as proper format. Now I have to put message shape. So here I just want to insert all whatever the data was coming. I want to put that data into in between the customer tag. So how can I refer that data? Using the current data. Current data will basically specifies whatever the data it basically actually passing through the documents. Now what is the data it will be passing through the message shape? Message shape will be the output of the data process. This one will be the all the repeating customer tags. This way you can see that we have used the message shape now with static value as well as a dynamic value. What would be the static values here? This would be my static values, all these things. These are all static values. It will not vary each and every time when done. Only this part will be vary. This is a dynamic value. So this way you can formulate, you can customize your message shape to generate the data as you expected. Now let's click on this one. As I said, but there is a gap between XML elements is not a matter. Gap between XML element is not a matter. If there is any space is available in between the element names, element values, if any gaps in between element values, then it's a problem. Now you can see if you are just using some XML tools, right? Linearize, this automatically makes your document well formed. You can see this one. So my document is well formed because my document was getting generated as a processing instruction, and it has only one root element here, and has a under root element can be have any number of root elements. This can be a valid XML or not. We can just based on the profile. So this is how we can use data XML combining. So with this, we know how to use database connector, how we can use database connector to insert our, then how we can query it, and then how we can use the SQL statement to do a lookups in decision, and also how we can use the data process split and combine with the flat files. And also we know how to use data process for splitting our XML elements, XML data, and then how we can use data process other options such as replace and the message shape to combine the data and to change the data format as we expected.